Hello and welcome to a quick look at Resident Evil the Umbrella Chronicles HD. Resident Evil the Umbrella Chronicles was originally released on the Wii in 2007. It's an on-rail shooter that tells the story of Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 3. It also tells the story of how Chris and Jill went to shut down Umbrella. And it also shows you things that you didn't see in the original games, like how Wesker come back to life and other things like that, and how Rebecca headed into the mansion. And the calibration I found quite easy, although I did make a mistake that was my own fault, because when I pulled the trigger I wasn't actually pointing it at the PlayStation Eye. And this is the move gun I'm using, and you will see there's a kitchen roll on the bottom of it. That's to hold the navigation control, if you couldn't see why the navigation control in there. I personally found the pairing with the navigation control a little bit difficult, though it's not essential. It just helps you a little bit look around. It's really good for finding archive files, which I'll get more into when the gameplay starts. Here's the main screen. Shows you what scenarios are new and what scenarios are available. You've also got results to look at your results. You can customize weapons with stars you earn depending on ranking. The archives I will get more into the game. This is the options. They're very basic. You can use two different types of controller. You can use the move control on its own or with the gun attachment. I would advise a gun attachment, but if you don't own one, it's not too bad. The dual shot control as well, I found that a little bit fiddly. It does have auto aim, but I didn't feel it added much by having that. And it has your basic control setup options, and there's game setup, and that lets you choose your difficulty. I'm going to go on easy just to show you I just find it's just going to be easier if I do it on that. I've never actually played it on hard, so the other game I've played on hard, the Dark Side Chronicles, that'll be a separate review, separate quick look at. Sorry. Well, technically it could be, because they are quite 3 years old. Dark Side Chronicles. The leaderboards, you can actually upload your scores to compete with friends, that kind of thing, and other players throughout the world. And this is the manual. It's pretty much just shows you the controls, that kind of thing. These are pretty much, I don't know entirely, because I've only got a few digital download games and I haven't really looked at the manuals if there are manuals for them. But I think this is a new thing with digital download games. It sort of explains how to calibrate, that kind of thing, if you don't understand it fully. So I'm going to be doing the very first chapter, Train Derailment 1. You can choose between two characters. There are quite a few characters that you can choose throughout the game. Mostly the characters repeat. On some of Wesker's missions that look at things you didn't get to see, they're only one player.
The Ecliptic Express. The Special Forces unit sent to investigate the area reported an emergency, but the announcement was suddenly cut off and followed only by silence. Enter the STARS unit member, Rebecca Chambers. Umbrella has been at the center of my plans for a long time, but the train incident would prove to be the beginning of the end.
STARS here. Is anybody there? STARS here. Is anybody there? the escaped prisoner, Billy Cohen.
Can we put a hold on the whole arresting me thing? We have bigger things to worry about right now.
Since when did he have that massive magnum like Barry has in Resident Evil 1 on the GameCube? And everything's pretty much the same as the Wii. I found this quite annoying, this little tutorial thing here. I kind of found that you sort of figure that out yourself. Really. It's pretty obvious that you'd use the trigger button. And I think it says stuff about your health bar here, and it's sort of things that you sort of figure out. But I can imagine some people might not understand or play games a lot, so they might not have a bit of trouble with that. I just personally found that annoying. And this one I think's a better tutorial, because if you don't know, you've played the Wii versions, you're not sure what the move controls are, then that would help you. And you can choose weapon loadouts before the scenario starts. I found that the move control works really well with this. I know a lot of people said in some move game ports, Wii games that are made as move games on PlayStation haven't been great. So the control works very well. The personal problem I had with the Wii version was it used to get deadlocked with the sensor bar. And if you're wondering there why I'm shooting the paintings down, behind certain objects there are secret umbrella files. These go in your archive. Also shooting at objects helps you to get a better rank overall. I found critical hits a little bit easier with the move control, but I've always preferred move control to the PlayStation, the move control to the Wii control, sorry.
We better go find out.
I mean, the tutorials here are very handy, because if you didn't know, I found it quite hard to figure out how to do the grenade thing, because I didn't read the tutorial the first time. And there's our first secret file. Here's the knife action. All you do is push the move button and then shake your control. You won't hear me shaking the control because I'm doing the review after filming the footage. I think that was another secret file. Yeah. And these files, I believe, that are actually from the actual games like Resident Evil 0, 1 and 3. I mean, it has character profiles as well. So they're worth unlocking. I also think, because there's trophy support, as you do tend to expect with PlayStation games now, there are trophies to unlock, and I think one of the trophies is get all the archives. If you pick up F-aid sprays, that acts like a continue. So if your health bar there runs out, then as long as you've got a first aid spray, then you'll be revived and can continue. And there's not really much difference from the Wii, other than the graphics are a little bit better. They are HD. I know with the well, I've heard, don't own them personally. With Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil Code Veronica HD on Xbox and PlayStation 3, that a lot of people said that they weren't that great HD wise, but this I do feel has been done well. But other than that, there isn't really much difference, other than I find Move easier to use, different from the Wii version. And the only reason I personally bought it is because the Wii console that I have in my house belongs to my sister, and it's kind of annoying when she wants to use it and I want to, you know what I mean? So that's the reason I bought it mainly. And I prefer Move, as I said, because it seems just the curse used to get stuck, in my personal opinion, with the on my personal experience with the Wii sensor bar, and I find that doesn't happen with this, so that's why I personally prefer this version. But other than that, I wouldn't say there's any reason for somebody who's got the Wii version and is happy with the Wii version to buy this version, unless they like HD graphics, that kind of thing. and the visuals are really good on here. Here's a checkpoint. If you need to go out, or do you have to turn the console off for whatever reason, just as it was in the Wii version, it'll load you back up from that point. The only problem I personally have with this is if you wanted to play another scenario, you're thinking, oh, I'm not enjoying this scenario, I'll go and want to play a different scenario. Once you've hit that checkpoint, you can't start a new one until you've completed the scenario, which was I've personally found a little bit annoying. Also, I meant to say, with the sharpshooter control, I did test it. I found it a little bit hard when using the knife action because of the weight of the thing. Also, if you use the pump action reload thing where the navigation controller sits, it actually fires as well, which was quite interesting. And the game at the moment is $21.99 in the UK. Not sure on Euro prices because I don't have access to a European account that isn't part of, well, obviously the UK is part of Europe, but we don't adopt the Euro, so I haven't got access to an account that does adopt the Euro, so I'm not sure the price on that. In America it's $26.99, but if you're a PlayStation Plus member you get a 10% discount. Originally it was in the UK $16.99 for 1 day, and then it changed, which I personally thought was a good deal. Still at $21.99. It hasn't changed in America. It started out as $26. I think it is a good deal because if you are after the Wii versions, they're a little bit hard to get now, I find. I found when I was looking for the Umbrella Chronicles, because my sister bought me Dark Side Chronicles when my PlayStation broke in 2010, and I was just borrowing the Wii because I didn't have anything else to play like. And that was about, I think, £16 the Dark Side Chronicles, and when last year I was looking for the Umbrella Chronicles, I had a hard job finding it. I had to get it pre-owned in, I think it was £12. So I think it's a good deal considering those prices. I thought the $16.99 was a better deal in the UK, but it hasn't changed on the American store. I do apologise for not knowing the European price. I think it would be about €30 as a guess. But yeah, I really don't believe there's any, if you're happy with the Wii version, there is no, you won't get much benefit unless you really like your graphics. The one thing that kind of annoys me with the Umbrella Chronicles, it does feel a little bit rushed in parts. Maybe, I mean, I don't know, the technology is a lot different. Obviously a little bit different to when the Dark Side Chronicles come out. But some of the scenarios do feel a little bit rushed. I mean, there is more scenarios on Umbrella Chronicles compared to the Dark Side Chronicles, so maybe that's why. Also, I think with the Resident Evil 3 story, there is no parts of Resident Evil. I mean, the story's pretty much there, but a lot of the characters from Resident Evil 3 are missing. Also, Barry's still missing. Well, Barry's missing in Resident Evil 1. He doesn't appear at all, which seems a bit silly. Rebecca appears. And Resident Evil 3 also, they've not used any locations from Resident Evil 3. It is the locations from Resident Evil Outbreak 1 and 2, which is a bit of a shame, really. You will notice things like the Apple Inn from Outbreak 1. It might be in Outbreak 2 actually, I think, in the last scenario. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed with that on the Wii version, and it's still on this version, so that is very disappointing. You can counter-attack just by shaking the move controller. It'll push the zombies back a little bit, but it's kind of a little bit of a problem, as it was in the Wii version when the zombies getting close and it only pushes them back a little bit, so you have to quickly shoot them in the head. Which can be annoying. And them leech monsters, I would advise using the machine gun. They can be a little bit tricky. And this is leading into the first boss fight now. And I think the boss fights are done very well as they were in the Wii version. I found dodging a little bit confusing to start with because I mean, I probably would have found it confusing in the Wii version, so I'm not going to knock that. I just found it a bit with the move button and the trigger button, but it was like that in the Wii version, so I can't knock it for that. I'm just giving you my personal thing on it. And somehow I think it's a very great game. I think it's a good price considering what I said about the Wii, trying to get hold of the Wii titles. It comes as a bundle at the moment. I think later on they're going to price it separately. I think it's, I'm not sure, I only know the UK prices at the moment. I think it's going to be $11.99 per game, which isn't too bad. But you'd be better off getting the bundle at that price in my opinion. As I said, I think it's a good price. Who would enjoy it? Definitely Resident Evil fans will enjoy this. No question. Maybe if you like move shooting games or on the rail shooter games, you would enjoy this. If you're not a fan of Resident Evil, you just like on rail shooters, it's a very good game. Yeah, I was kind of annoyed I died there. I thought I was going to just make it, but I was a bit unlucky. Anyway, this is the end of this quick look at Resident Evil the Umbrella Chronicles. I hope you've enjoyed what I've showed you. Hope I've answered a lot of questions if you're unsure about buying it. If there's anything you'd like to ask me about the game, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. If you just leave a comment and I'll get back to you fairly quickly. Well, I should do. I don't get a lot of comments in a lot of my videos, so I should tend to get back to you on that. So I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to watch this. The Dark Side Chronicles should be up shortly after this video, and that's the next review. And just thank you for watching again, as I said.